You're listening to Marketing Impressions, brought to you by M. Roberts Digital. We are data-driven marketing experts who develop, deliver, and optimize business growth campaigns. In this podcast, you can expect to expand your knowledge in the big wide world of marketing and hear real-life marketing examples. I'm your host, Jordan Sherrod, and I'm thrilled to make marketing matter for you today. Social media. Man, what a topic. Did you know there are now over 4.62 billion social media users in the world? That's nuts. And there are 17 major social media sites out there, and there's plenty more than that. But even if you're not on those social media channels, it's important that you're familiar with them as a business and as a marketer, so you know kind of which audience is on which platform. So for example, if you think Facebook is just for old people, and you personally don't have anything to do with it, it's still important that you understand how it works because it may in fact be your perfect audience. And as a matter of fact, in 2022, the stats that just came out, Facebook is still the most used social platform at 2,900 million active users, which is nuts. And what's crazy to me is that's more than on YouTube. YouTube was ahead of Facebook for a long time, but now Facebook's ahead. And so then it's YouTube, WhatsApp, Instagram, WeChat, TikTok is up there, and then Snapchat's a lot farther down, and then under that is actually Pinterest and Twitter. So Twitter's actually a lower active user than those. So anyway, fun stats for 2022. Those are new things that just came out. So social media, it's heavily used in marketing, and as we stated before, marketing is largely about telling a story. And the social media platforms are an easy way to tell your business's story. So today, I'm so excited. I'm joined by Caroline Herman. Is that how you say your last name? Okay. Caroline is a digital content creator, a very gifted member of our team, and she manages a large number of client accounts in the ever-changing world of social media. So Caroline, it's great to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here to talk about social media. It is a giant thing.
It is. Okay, anything else, any fun facts you want to tell us about yourself, things that you're interested in?
About me? Let's see. I got into marketing about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Was not my career choice, but fell in love with it. And I know that sounds nerdy to say, I fell in love with marketing, but I really, really did. And it's really interesting to me to discuss the different ways that social media can be used, especially because social media is my own little toolkit. Yeah, that's everything I do. So I'm excited.
Okay, so let's talk broadly about how social media is used for a second. What are a couple of the main ways that people use social media as a business and marketers?
Yeah, so for sure, Facebook especially, you can do paid posts and you can do organic posts.
Right, okay.
So I know a lot of times businesses don't really know the difference when you say organic, and they're what does organic mean? Yeah. So organic posts are posts that are not paid. They're not promoted in any way other than you just put it on your page and see what happens. Okay. You can tailor those a little bit to your audience with, knowing your audience is very important. Yeah. And so what you say is you're saying it to them.
Right, yeah.
And then there's also paid posts, and paid posts are what you might hear of as boosted. You put a budget into those, and you can add targeting specifically to your demographic, your age range, your female versus male audience, location, things like that might influence who sees that post. Yeah.
So those are showing up in people's feeds and stuff like that, and you're paying for that to show up.
Yes.
Okay. So let me ask you this. You talked about organic posts where you just put it up there on your page. Who sees that?
People who follow you, people who interact with you. If your Facebook page has 1,000 some odd people that like it, those 1,000 people are going to see that organic post that you put out. Now, however, Facebook algorithms are a little bit tricky. Yeah. So those people might not all see that post.
Right. Well, yeah. So what's crazy is that number of followers has gotten less and less and less. Yes. It used to be 5% of your followers saw that post, and now it's down to like 1.5%.
Oh, of course.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Your feed is so cluttered. I mean, think about all of the people that you follow, all of the things you interact with.
Right.
It's so cluttered, so that makes perfect sense.
Well, and one of the reasons why it's kind of moved and gone towards that is because we all know, we've seen Mark Zuckerberg, on trial or whatever, and so he's been under, Facebook's Meta now has been under a lot of pressure to be more community oriented and less just kind of business and targeted. And in fact, they just removed a lot of targeting capabilities on Facebook to avoid any lawsuits or discrimination or things like that. And so there's more of a push to a community type feel versus like a business and page centric feel on Facebook. Of
course. Yeah. And of course, we'll get into this a little bit down the line here, but the more authentic you can be, the more familiar and personable you can be to your followers, the better. I know me specifically, I want to interact more with people who are real.
Yeah, that's good. So still on the organic posting, if not that many people see it, I mean, why as a business would I want to post anything there at all?
It gives you content in your feed. I don't know how a lot of people do this, but me specifically, again, I'll go into this example. When I'm looking up a business on Facebook, I will get sidetracked and start scrolling through their feed, trying to find information, events that they might be having, their hours of operation, things like that. And so if they have a lot of posts in their feed, I'm more going to trust that business a little bit more than I would a business page that only has,
Well, that's a good example, because I remember I've gone to businesses where their last post was like a year ago, and I'm like, okay, are they closed? Like,
what's going on with this? What's happening here? So that's one reason. Another reason is those organic posts don't require as much maintenance. Boosted posts are great for your engagement. They're a great tool to use, but they don't, organic posts, you don't have to go in there and put in a budget and put in all the targeting and then manage it. All of that. So,
well, it's free. I mean, like, as a business owner or even a marketer, I mean, like, why not? Like, if it's a free thing that someone might see to get you business, like, why not?
Why not?
Like, just go ahead.
It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to put a post out there for your followers to see.
So obviously, we, M. Roberts Digital, we're a digital agency, and so we post on behalf of our clients who are businesses, right? So we're a little different. You might be a business and just obviously like post immediately to your page. But in general, Caroline, what are some questions you may ask before beginning to post for a client? Some things you think through.
Okay, so specifically, I look at their branding. What are their current posts like? What are their previous posts like? What are their logos and their colors and their fonts and their continual themes that they use throughout their posts? Okay. I will look at their website to try to get some ideas for the content. If it's a roofing company or if it's a auto body company, what kind of specific services can we highlight that haven't maybe already been highlighted that are very important to talk about? Okay. But that branding, we want to keep it the same. We want to keep all of the colors consistent. We want to keep the content, the tone of voice. Everything has to stay consistent so it sounds like it's coming from the brand.
Yeah. What happens if you don't follow that brand? If you start talking in a different language?
It's confusing.
Okay.
It gets jumbled up, and someone might see your post down their feed and not really know who's posting it and just read through it. And you want people to be able to read through that content and know it's coming from you. You want that brand memory, that loyalty, that people are going to see that and know, hey, that's my favorite company. That's my favorite clothing shop. That's my favorite, that's posting that. Yeah. So
that's good. So let's keep on that train. We'll come back to paid advertising in a minute. So obviously the type of content that you post is very important. And the most tempting thing to do, at least as a marketer or even a business owner who doesn't have a lot of time, is just like a quick post with a stock image or something like that. But that's often not what people want to see. Right. So in your opinion, Caroline, what makes for a good social media post? What is it that people want to see from your page?
Well, and this kind of goes in line with what I said earlier about it being personable. We don't want it to sound robotic, like it's coming from some corporate machine, And as the years have gone by, I know I've only been here working for a few years now in marketing, but as time goes by, the more popular posts are the on the spot, very personable, very non-filtered, just snap a behind the scenes photo or a staff picture or a picture of your office, things like that. Anything that you can do to get your audience to realize you are a person, you are real, and you can relate to them and they can relate to you. Right. So anything to engage them and get them to interact with you. Yeah,
I love that. And I totally agree. I think as humans, we were made for relationships, right? We're hardwired for that, and we want to be connected to people. And so when we understand that basic need and we apply it to social media, our effectiveness on social media for our company begins to skyrocket, right? Because like we've said before, most people, they trust you and see you. When they see you as a company with like real people, real customers that you have real relationships with, they're going to want to engage with you more. They're going to want to do business with you more.
Yes, we're all human, especially in the time of the pandemic when we were all cooped up and didn't have that interpersonal relationship space. Brands became more aware of that and used it to connect to people. So,
absolutely. Yeah, the way that ads and videos and everything were made has totally changed since the pandemic.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get a little practical, I guess. What content type specifically works best? And this actually surprised me. I don't know if you've seen this report yet.
Yeah. Well, I know personally.
From what you've seen.
Images and videos.
Okay.
If you put out just a straight text post, I feel like it's not as eye-catching. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of reports and analytics about having an image to grab attention. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that just any image will work. It's got to be eye-catching. It can't be too cluttered with text. It can't be too bright and hard to look at. Right. So I would say image and video are the top performers.
This stat kind of surprised me. This is from Hootsuite. They do a big every year kind of the state of social media, and for a long time I had heard video was the top thing, and it still is the most like. What am I trying to say? People retain video the most out of everything in your messaging. But according to these stats, 2022, this is specifically just for Facebook. It's different all across the board. But the most engaged type of post was just a status post.
Really?
With no photo or anything. Yeah. Which I don't ever recommend that. I don't think you should do that as a business when you can say, show it in a picture or whatever.
I mean, I understand off the top, if it's just a quick little blurb, but
anyway, that surprised me. And then photo posts were actually the next at 0.11% engagement on average. And then videos at 0.08% engagement on average. And then finally, link posts were at the very bottom, 0.03. And that's just when you have some text with a link to, a different website or something. And the reason I think one of the reasons why that is the lowest is because Facebook doesn't like you leaving their website. And so they're not going to feed other people's websites into their algorithm.
They won't directly tell you that they'll hide your posts, but they will. If they don't like your post, they're not going to show your post.
Yeah. But still, I think video is the most powerful if you want your users to retain a message or an impression.
Yeah.
Here's some good stats on videos. So viewers retain 95% of a message when they watch it in a video compared to 10% when they read it in text. So that's crazy to me. If you can show it in a video, do it, basically, is what I hear with that.
Now, on that note, I will say, some videos are very cluttered, and if it's too long, the length of your video, I know I won't sit there and watch a 5-minute video on Facebook unless it's extremely interesting to me.
That's exactly a good point. So this is really interesting. Your videos should either be a minute or less, preferably like 15 to 30 seconds, or like over 8 minutes.
Goodness gracious.
So the reasoning behind that is, and again, it goes back to what kind of content you're putting out there. If you're an expert in your field and you have like a very interesting video and topic and a good following of people that want to engage with what you're doing and showing and seeing, they're gonna want more content, like long form content.
Yeah.
But as a general rule, everybody has goldfish attention spans, and
Yes.
so short, quick videos that explain what you're trying to communicate is really important. Yeah. So anyway, that's what the research shows, which does go into what you just said of like, if I'm interested in it, I'll watch a long video.
Like I have a few that on my Facebook feed that I do watch, and I consider them like little mini TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't actually watch TV.
Right, right, yeah. And those kind of things are more like this, like what we're doing here, a little like podcast-esque, episodes a lot of times, or how-tos or things like that. Mm-hmm. Social media posts with video have 48% more views in general. Okay. Because Facebook at least has a separate kind of watch section,
a whole
for
entire
videos.
tab for that, yeah.
And on Facebook, live videos outperformed pre-recorded videos 6-1, and we especially saw that during the pandemic. You know.
I was gonna say during the storms.
Yes.
I sit in my closet and watch the live videos.
Yep, exactly. The ironic thing, though, is that the video is a lot of times the most intimidating thing for businesses to do. Yes. Like they don't want to get on camera. They don't feel like they have the right equipment. But the reality is, like our smartphones these days are powerful enough to do what we need to do on social media. So as long as you are holding it correctly and steady,
Your thumb's not in front of it.
Right, yeah. And you have a rough idea of what you're going to say in film. Like, I always say just go for it.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah. As long as the content's engaging and purposeful and you do it consistently, people are going to tune in.
Yeah. And the more confident you are on camera, too, of course, that comes across and people will interact with you and they will notice you're human and you're creating this content on your own accord. You're human. I mean,
it goes back to the relationship thing.
Relatability.
When someone sees you being brave enough to get out there on a live video, they want to engage with that.
It also puts a face to the brand. I mean, if I see someone from my local, even if it's a big box store, if I see someone on Instagram or on Facebook doing a video, I'm like, hey, I saw her just the other day when I was buying groceries. It's definitely more personable.
Yeah. So before we kind of wrap this up, let's talk about paid advertising some more. Honestly, so in my opinion, social media advertising is fairly cost effective when you compare it to all of the other areas that you can pay to have your ad out there. Yes. Streaming services with OTT or targeted digital ads or even Google search. Like if you pay $100 even on social media, for ads, the amount of clicks and views and returns that you get on there is usually a lot higher than you would if you spend $100 on some other type of platform. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the amount of your ad engagement, though, depends, like we've already talked about, heavily on your imagery, on the appeal of your message, and then who have you targeted for that ad, right? If it's you're just blasting it out to the city of Longview or whatever, and you haven't really nailed down specifically your target audience, you're going to get less engagement.
Yes, and it's going to be more or less a waste of your effort.
That's right.
Yeah.
The more targeted you are, the more money you're saving, really, because you're engaging with people who actively, want to take part in your service or your product. Yeah. Right. So there are dozens of different types of ads you can run on social media. There's like event targeted ads. There's traffic ads to your website, just general engagement and view ads, story ads, page like campaigns. There's lots of different options and direction you can go with your spending on social media, and a lot of what you choose to spend it on determines on your goals, determines on what is your purpose for being on social media? How are you able to engage? So, for instance, the difference between a clothing shop or brand versus like a car dealership, it's your spend and how you spend it is going to differ very greatly. Because we all know on social media, I mean, I'm a guy and I've even clicked on like clothing ads to buy something, right then and there. And that's just kind of what we've become accustomed to, right? Yep. Is even shopping on Instagram or whatever.
And of course, then you'll get hit with more clothing ads. Like, why am I seeing all of these? Yep. What did I do?
Yeah. So, but then with a car dealership, right? You're maybe gonna just want to do more like vlog style videos, and here's a car demonstration, a car review of the newest brand and model, and it's not gonna be so much an immediate, buy here right now on social media. You know what I mean?
It's not so much used as a instant sell tactic. It's more of an informational relatability. Yes. Here's what we have to offer if you're interested. Right. Then we push a little bit more of a sell. Yeah.
And that's important, especially for someone selling such a high dollar product like a car, is you really want to have a relationship with the person before you say, hey, do you want to spend $90,000 on this car?
Because nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah. So again, your type of ad, your platform, who you target, imagery, messaging, it all depends on your end goal with your campaign. What do you want someone to do when they see your ad? That's something you need to be asking is when someone sees what I put in front of them, what do I want them to do? Yes. And that's going to determine how you set up, the advertisement. So that's a little, blurb on paid advertising. There's a lot of cool targeting capabilities.
So many. Sometimes it's a little scary to see what we can target people with, but it's very, very cool to go in there and be able to say, hey, I want to hit just these people in this area, just these people based on this age group, or if they've just recently purchased a home, things like that. It's very, very interesting. Yeah.
So the algorithm's always changing on social media. It's important to depend on someone who knows, how it's changing, what it's doing. Knows your audience, knows the marketing venues. And here's something I want to ask. Social media is awesome. It's powerful. We've talked about how cool it is, and you get a good bang for your buck. But why is it important to not just rely on social media for a successful overall campaign?
Yeah. So it kind of goes hand in hand with what you said about when we target someone, what do we want them to do? Yeah. So if you just have a Facebook page and you put an ad out there and you say, I want people to buy something from my store, where are they going to do that from Facebook? Mm-hmm. You got to have a website. And so you put out a Facebook ad, you create a website. Those two things work hand in hand. Yeah. It also goes along with all of the other digital aspects we put together. Mm-hmm. They work in synchronized effort to get people to relate to you, fall in love with your brand the same way you love your brand, and ultimately decide to make a purchase. Yeah. It's an entire journey, and a journey consists of more than just one step. Right.
And the more places you are out there as far as marketing venues go, the more people are going to trust and recognize, okay, they're legit. You know what I mean? They're out there. They're not just on social media. They're real and in the world, and I can engage with them. Yes. Right. And then also, too, your target audience may not be on social media or on that one specific platform.
Yeah,
right?
Not everybody's going to be on TikTok or Twitter or Facebook. Even Facebook has a very large audience, but not everybody's on it. Yeah. There are people who say they don't want to have a Facebook page because they're not into it, or people who still don't even have smartphones. Right, yeah. I sometimes wish I could get away with having not to deal with my notifications every day, but yes, it's important to be everywhere.
Yeah. So again, it depends on knowing your audience, knowing what marketing venues you have available, and then don't just stick to social media as your form of marketing, even though it is powerful. Okay, so before we leave, we're going to hear a quick clip from Crystal Lindsay about her experience using social media, and then we'll be right back. Hey guys, we're here for a special little segment with Crystal Lindsay, who's a multimedia consultant, fantastic at what she does. She actually used to own a social media firm and has a lot of experience there. So I thought we'd bring her on and let her give you kind of her big picture overview about the importance of social media and what role it has in your business and in marketing.
Absolutely. Let me kick it off with a statistic here. Did you know that 90% of people who say they're ready right now will not be ready now, but will be ready in the next 6 months. Let me say that a different way. Only 3% of people who say they're ready right now are actually ready to take action. But you will have 9 out of 10 people who will be ready in the next 6 months. What that means is, as a business owner and entrepreneur, now more than ever, you have to figure out how to keep people warm for 6 months. Social media is one of the best ways to keep top of mind awareness, be able to demonstrate your expertise, and generate referrals when you create content that converts. So let me go ahead and walk you through, how do you create content that converts? The number one thing you could do is stop talking about what you want people to care about and start talking about what they already care about. What does that mean? That means be intentional. Think about your number one product that you're trying to push. Think about the person who would buy it. Think about a real person who did buy it. Think about the questions and the needs and the challenges they had. Like literally bullet point it out. I'm not talking about rocket science here. And put down what the questions they asked or what they were looking for. Each one of those bullet points is now a social media post. So once you start using the client's actual words, you're starting to create content that converts. Once you start putting that on your social channel, you're able to, what a concept, be social and stop selling. And so that is what's going to allow and position you as an expert and get leads on social media, is when you realize that this is the tool that's going to keep people warm for 6 months. This is where you're going to get leads. Think about it like this. Your social media is the lobby of your business. Your website is the storefront of your business. So what does that mean? That means you have to impress people in your lobby so they pay top dollar to work with you, right? So what does that mean? That means you put out the nice fragrance and have the nice receptionist and the fancy furnishings. How do you do that in social? Have a great cover photo. Make sure that everything is on point and the branding's perfect. Make sure the words are showing you understand their needs and challenges, and showcase that you've helped people just like them and you can help them too. So hopefully that helps in understanding.
That's really good.
The number one thing you could do on social is be social. How do you get to be social? Create content that converts. How do you create content that converts? Be intentional about who it is you're actually going after and what the things they already care about in the words they would use, and put those exact words in social media, and make sure that you're keeping top of mind awareness for 6 months so you can start generating real leads from social media.
I love it. Thanks so much, Crystal. Appreciate it. Okay, that was awesome. Before we go, Caroline, do you have any other advice you'd like to share about social media in general with our listeners?
Be real. A lot of times people don't want to be unpolished or unfiltered, and honestly, that is what you should be.
Yeah.
People don't want to see you all filtered and perfect. They don't relate to perfect. Nobody's perfect. So be real, be a human, be personable, and you will build that loyalty. You will build that fan base.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll see you again next time on our next podcast. Marketing Impressions is brought to you by M. Roberts Digital. M. Roberts Digital is your local marketing company with global reach. We uniquely and proudly offer every kind of marketing imaginable for our clients' campaigns. Quite simply, we make you successful. By hitting our goals month after month, M. Roberts Digital has continued to grow year after year and achieve unprecedented success. You can learn more and start your own marketing campaign at mrobertsdigital.com.